So if we go down there, it blows. If we don't, it blows anyway, just a little later. It's a good thing I'm Russian. We're used to hopeless situations.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome back, friends. You know what I don't say anymore either. It's time for another episode. Babylon 5 episode. If you know the deep lore, you know we started out all of our podcasts for one podcast. So I had to tell you at the front what we were going to be talking about.
Why are we even here today, Rachel?
Hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
And this is
We Are All Kosh.
a Babylon 5 recap.
Recap. Okay.
All right, this is season 1, episode 19, A Voice in the Wilderness, part 2. Part 2. And let me just say there's a couple moments in this episode where I had to hold Matt's hand to get through this. Because, wow, did it feel timely? I mean, I knew we might get into something that felt relevant when we went over the Mars thing. The Mars rebellion.
Yeah.
And then there's a part later. Do you want to see a magic trick? I was like, I need you to hold my hand. I just need you to hold my hand through this. God, what a moment. What a moment to be rewatching Babylon 5. And we knew that. That's why we switched to Babylon 5. Like, we knew that. We knew that's why we felt like this would give us...
It felt more appropriate.
It would give us the opportunity to discuss topics that Babylon 5 brings up in a way that felt organic and not like it was shoehorned into a podcast. And yet somehow I don't think I thought through what that meant, that I was then going to have to confront these events on the screen, the big one, and then also like the real life screen, like the everything screen.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're recording this the week of June 20-ish. You know, right around the time that high school, everything that happened in high school is repeating itself. That's what it feels like to me. Like,
right.
Guys, we've done this.
Why are we doing this again?
We've done this twice. Fucking twice already. Can we just look it up, okay? I mean, it's the same playbook. They're just, it's fine. I just, you know, my dad was drafted. That's how he ended up in the army in Vietnam. And ultimately, it took his life. So it's really hard to all these kids that could potentially get drafted to be sent over to fight another rich man war, which is just, I want to line my pocket and I don't care who dies. So back to season 1, episode 19 of Babylon 5, which totally has nothing about it that we were not coming back to this, just on the subject at all. This was originally aired August 3rd, 1994. 31 years ago. As Matt pointed out, and I also read, the Hyperion the ship, the heavy cruiser, Earth Alliance heavy cruiser, Hyperion, is named after the Internet Archive, originally located
Hyperion.com.
at Hyperion.com. On purpose. Thank you, J. Michael Straczynski. That was like a tip of the hat.
Historical reference.
Apparently, this episode has a whole bunch of references in it.
Yeah, I did scroll through a synopsis of
You're
this
not
episode.
supposed to look the trivia up ahead of time because I'm supposed to tell it to you, and you're supposed to go, "Oh, really?"
Oh, really?
We lose our authentic reaction when you know it ahead of time.
when my part is scripted.
Yeah, you're the part that's supposed to be you're my foil. If you don't foil, who will foil? But when Captain Pierce is going to launch the fighters to land on the planet, there's TX1138 on the screen behind him.
One of the ships.
Yeah, and then when they're downloading our language, there's a whole bunch of sci-fi references that pop up really quickly, including Skynet and the phrase, "I am not a number, I am a free man." From the title sequence of The Prisoner, which I've never seen, but now feel like I need to.
Yeah.
And he also said, I thought this was really interesting. Of course, insofar as I recall, it wasn't stated in the episode that Varn's people actually built the great machine. And so
Right.
I read that quote, and then we rewatched the episode, and I was like, is it even lightly implied? And no, they're just like, it's a trust. It's a sacred trust.
Yeah. I'm just here.
Yeah, it was given to me, a sacred trust for the future. And you're like, okay, who gave it to you? And it must be
Tony down the road.
Tony, can you hold this for me? And they were like, a sacred trust. We shall hold this forever. Except it's a planet-sized machine. So I feel like there's a little bit of like, okay, I feel like I'm being given some sort of responsibility here. It's not like somebody handed him a briefcase and was like, don't open it. They're just like, here, have this planet that's also
A thing.
a thing. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. I don't think it's a thing that we ever really truly revisit. We are going to come back to the planet at some point. It does not fall into plot hole land. It does come back. But it makes it make more sense about why some of Varn's people would come back and be like, oh, we were looking for this place. Instead of just spending 500 years building a new one.
Right.
Like, oh, well, I stole the plans. It's fine. We'll just build another one. That's no moon. It's a space station.
That's what they should have called that first episode. That's no moon, part
no
one.
moon. It would have been perfect. And they used the phrase enlightened self-interest, which of course harkens back to Jakar's quip, where he says that the universe is run by the interweaving of three elements.
Yeah.
Energy, matter, and enlightened self-interest. Which is
I
pretty
didn't
funny.
pick up on that
Yeah.
reference.
And
That was good.
should enlightened self-interest fail, I'll shoot the shit out of you. I will blow you the fuck up. This stars Ron Canada as Captain Ellis Pierce. It could be Canada, like Jurassic is not Jurassic, but it's just spelled like Canada. So Ron Canada. He had a recurring role on The West Wing. And apparently he was in National Treasure. I think I recognize him from National Treasure, like briefly. He's one of those people that's been in like legit everything, but like one or two episodes of it. Like a lot of these people are. A lot of these people are those character actors that get great little roles on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Denise Gentile plays Lise Hampton, and she's going to come back for 9 other episodes as Lise. So you thought it was done. No, not done. We're going to meet Lise again.
Garibaldi's backstory is never over.
Never. I love that everybody appears to know it, because later, with the end, when he finally gets in touch with Lise, Ivanova's like, there's something you need to know before we tell Garibaldi.
Yeah, he was the last to find out.
He was
she
the last
married.
to find, but everyone knew who she was. It's not like Ivanova was like, why does Garibaldi want to talk to this girl? Which means he sat everyone down and been like,
At some point.
let me tell you about
Everyone's
Lise.
heard this story.
I know. They're all invested in this relationship. It's like the Real Housewives of Babylon 5. But it's just Garibaldi's
Spin-off option.
Garibaldi's failed relationships with women that lead to homicidal behavior. Like he's so horrifically bad at relationships. He literally leaves them murderous. It's fine. I don't think Lise does that. I think
it
he just
messes
visits.
him up.
I think he just visits her later. I think that's why she comes back. So it's fine. Just put a pin in that. The guy who plays Rowdy Number 1. The one that Garibaldi slams his head into his name is Chip Heller. I was like, of course your name is Chip. Of course your name is fucking Chip. And he was, and this is why I put him in here, in Memoirs of an Invisible Man. He's the third actor who was also in the one with Chevy Chase that you refused to watch because it has Chevy Chase in it. Daryl Hannah should get you through it.
I can give it a try. It's just...
I know. It's very Chevy Chase, too. Like, it's just peak asshole. It doesn't really matter. He's only guy who hails taxi. But he's in it. That's what matters. Anyway, previously on Babylon 5, Matt, would you like to give us the recap of The Voice in the Wilderness Part 1?
Bruh. There's stuff going down on the planet.
That's your whole recap?
We got to look at it. We did look at it. It was we got a guy out of there.
We got a guy. It's fine.
We came, we saw, we kidnapped. or saved.
Or assisted, depending on how you look at it. Airlifted. Yes, they airlifted him to Med Lab. They gave him to Dr. Franklin.
which does not inhibit his astral projection.
No, not at all. So he must be on some level telepathic or still connected to the machine.
Yeah.
But they gave him to Dr. Franklin, who's probably like,
oh boy,
this
one's gonna be my masterpiece. I'm now drifting into like Hannibal Lecter vibes for Dr. Franklin.
He just drifts into Med Lab 1. They're like, you're not on duty. And he's like, oh, I got the call. It said that there was a new life form on board.
This vivisection will be my best.
I do beautiful work.
Dr. Franklin gets better. He gets better. He has a healing journey.
He really doesn't do anything nefarious in this episode at all. It's just that our weird backstory is now. I feel like this is a hallmark of how we experience television shows. Is we just pick one character
and shit on them.
Either shit on them or give them just like the best made up backstory. We did this to Vashon. We did this to Vashon in Forever Night so hard. I was re-listening to our Hearts of Darkness.
He has so many plot holes that have to be filled in.
Right now, Stephen Franklin. Dr. Franklin, yeah.
Well, I'm talking about Vashon.
Oh yeah. Well, we watched. It's an entirely different show. It's not the same experience. But we were watching Hearts of Darkness, and I was listening to how much we shit on his hair.
Vashon's long term.
His 90s disappointed mom mullet, like with his breakup bangs. Oh. That's so funny. I was listening to it in the car, and honestly, it's been so long since we recorded it. I didn't remember anything, so it was like listening to a new show. And I was like, wow, we're really funny.
Rachel will put on our podcast episodes in the car right after she posts them. I think partly to make sure that
quality
it
control.
Works. It's quality control, and to get one listener count.
Hey, we had an episode of We Are All Kosh get over 100 downloads.
Woo!
That's really great. I think Strange and Beautiful Book Club has like 2 that have gotten over 100. In the entirety of the time that we have been posting, 3 years almost, honey. November will be our 3-year anniversary. That's the fastest we've ever gotten to 100 downloads on anything. So
nice.
Welcome. And we got a new patron. I don't know if you guys know we have a Patreon. We have a Patreon. I used to try to do things on the Patreon. It turns out I can literally do one thing at a time, and it is do podcasts. I can't even write good show notes. I can just post the podcast. And I don't have staff, so it's just me. You think Matt helps? He shows up. He provides pithy commentary.
I'm a guest host.
He funds the equipment, and then he just disappears off into the night, which is fine. I don't mind doing all the work, but it meant that I couldn't keep up with the Patreon stuff. So I changed all of our tiers to $1 and just put like, thank you for coming. So I will maybe like, I have a life goal of eventually getting back and doing more with Patreon. Mm-hmm. I don't have a timeline for that, but anyway, thank you, new Patreon member.
Welcome.
I should write
Welcome to the party.
I think we have 8. I should write them down and then I should just share them. It's like a thank you. So I look forward to that. Maybe we'll do that next episode because we need to get on with A Voice in the Wilderness, Part 2. Because we come back to the hell, because the recap ends with Garibaldi being like, what's coming through the thingy? And then they're like, oh, it's a Earth heavy cruiser. And he's like, oh, it's an Earth heavy cruiser. Okay.
I like how vague they are about the size.
It's a Earth Alliance heavy cruiser. Apparently,
Well, they're
we
like,
never.
what is it's so big?
Yeah,
Is that 100 meters? Is it a kilometer? Like,
even small ships are good ships. Okay, it's all about how you drive them.
put some context for the panic.
Okay, well, we doesn't matter. We blah blah. It doesn't matter because we're never ever ever gonna see this type of ship ever again ever.
This is a old school vintage.
Yeah,
This is a vintage.
this is
Earth
Earth-Minbari
cruiser.
war survivor.
Yep.
One of the very few, and so all the new ones are built different. All the new ones have gravity. This one has no gravity because there's no part that spins,
Right.
and we don't have like
Artificial gravity.
artificial gravity. We
Yet.
have to rotate shit. That's why Babylon 5 spins. So there's no spinny part. So these people, this whole crew is stuck in 0G for the entire time they're on the ship.
Yep.
That kind of
So
sucks.
they're looking forward to some R&R
Yeah. But
on the
Garibaldi
station.
calls them and he's like, hey, yeah, no offense, but what are you doing here? This may be why Garibaldi is to the left of the command structure.
Mm-hmm.
Although literally, I was shocked that this guy didn't get on the station and be like, well, Garibaldi works for me now. Because everybody,
It's a trend.
everybody
a
does
fad.
that. I know.
I wonder if
And-
you get a badge. I commandeered Garibaldi.
I know. What, like it's hard? We've all done it. But he's basically like, yeah, we're coming on board. We're taking over. We've been
The situation.
we're taking control of the situation because apparently everything that they've been saying over the comm has been relayed to Earth Central. And Earth Central, there must be no delay in communication or more time has passed
Yeah.
because they've only been on the planet for 2 hours. They've been on the planet for 2 hours when they send that transmission that's like a whole new area of technology, machines the size of buildings. And then immediately a heavy cruiser comes out of the
Right.
thing, the jump gate, and is like, hey, I heard we're here. There's no delay. Like it must have been on the way. We know it was on the way somewhere.
It was on the way to the Vegan system, which is really close to the rim.
Oh, okay. So they
So-
were headed out to the rim and they
Yeah.
just turned around and came back. But the timing is weird. Okay. But the timing is foreshortened like this because the 90s tell it. We couldn't
Yeah,
wait.
Sometimes you have to shorten things
Right.
for the narrative.
Yeah. And he's like, please stand by, Babylon Control. We're coming in. And then we go to the intro. Ba-dum. Ba-dum.
Wrong intro. It's ba ba.
No, I
ba.
got it. It's fine. So I was thinking about these new CG transitions because over the last couple of episodes, we've started getting more and more of the like them doing work on the outside of the station or a ship getting put into dock or whatever as like a transition between scenes. And these were probably for the commercial breaks. Because that
Yes.
way the show could come back on, and if you were still on your way back from the bathroom, you didn't miss any vital
You
plot.
got you got an extra burst of urgency, but if you missed a couple more seconds,
It was fine.
you didn't miss any
This
plot.
is a flow, like a bracket moment,
Yeah.
so that you could come back, and it's also probably Euro minutes, so they could
You
cut
think
them
so?
out. They could cut them out for American TV, or they could leave them in if you had fewer. You can flex these in and out without changing the plot. Forever Night had a lot of Euro minutes where it was like chunks you could remove and it wouldn't change anything.
Right, if the amount of time you spent in ads changed on the network.
Yeah. And we did rewatch the first episode before we watched this one. And this is where this is in my notes. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in.
Okay.
And it's our plasma versus Proxima debate.
Yes.
So we both listened to the scene where
Tasaki.
Tasaki, the scientist guy, is like
Talking to Ivanova.
talking to Ivanova, and he's like, I'm going to call my wife on Proxima and tell her because she loves mysteries.
But it's one of those where I read the subtitle Plasma, and when he said Proxima, it's like my brain heard it as Plasma.
Right, because
And
they
the subtitles are wrong.
title it as plasma, but what he says is proxima,
Which makes more sense.
which makes more sense. So in a way, we were both correct. But the thing that was really wrong here was the subtitles.
Yeah.
Because you have to remember in marriage, it's not it's not a me versus you. It's me and you versus the problem, honey.
Yeah, and the problem was the
And
subtitles.
the problem was the subtitles. So we come back to Dr. Franklin and Sinclair, and they're looking at Varn because Varn is in med lab.
Did you poke him?
Did he have 2 arms? What? No. One fell off.
I determined it was vestigial. He didn't need it, and it was hurting him.
I thought maybe that's where the problem
What
was.
wipes his face with a napkin? I'm sorry, Dr. Franklin.
Oh, God, I'm crying a little. Okay. Sinclair's like, how? I can't.
I feel like that's going to be a bit. Intense moments. I'll just say. And then Dr. Franklin wipes his mouth.
You're going to have so many opportunities. Oh, okay. My stomach kind of hurts now. I don't know what that got me, but it did. Okay. Whew.
You're welcome.
Probably because the second part is like, he goes, how is he? And Dr. Franklin just goes, he's stable. But we won't know for a while. We won't know if removing that organ will have an effect or not. He goes, I'm still trying to work out his biology. Sinclair's like, okay, well, just be careful.
Dab, dab.
Okay. I just gotta breathe through this now. All right, I think we've got it together now.
Yeah.
Okay, I broke a little at the end there. I'm all right. So, don't look at me, okay? So then, what happens after that is Sinclair has to go meet with Captain Pierce because Captain Pierce is like, I'm in your office. I'm waiting for you. So he
They
has
told
to
me
go.
I could do that.
They said I could come in your office. They said it was okay. But I have to imagine Sinclair is well aware of what Dr. Franklin might do because he's like, hey, can you send me quarterly updates on his condition?
Is that every 15 minutes?
Is that every 15? Maybe it's every quarter of a cycle, which could mean quarter of an hour, quarter of a day, could go any way.
How long is a cycle?
We don't know, God.
We just know that it took 3 cycles until the battle with the fist fighting.
Yeah. What they
Yeah.
should have done at the end when they're like, okay, well, you have 10 hours. You have 10 cycles. Okay, well, you have 9 cycles. And then no one would know. Could be a week.
Yeah.
Could be 10 hours. Just keep them guessing. He's like, can you give me like quarterly updates? I'm going with every 15 minutes.
Yeah, it could be every 15 for something urgent. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we go to like, not the ready room, but his little office where Captain Pierce is waiting for him. And he's watching the tourist video about Babylon 5.
Yeah.
That's like, you can shop in the Zocalo. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. That's like dancing kid.
Bobblehead versions of the command staff.
Hi, I'm Captain. We hope your stay is real comfortable. Ding.
You could spend time in the Patreon. You could spend time in
Please
the...
don't go down to the brown sector. Currently
If you
unavailable
find
for
yourself in a room full of boxes, get out.
exit immediately. But as soon as Sinclair walks in, Captain, his name is Ellis. Ellis is like, fade. And it turns off. Okay. And then he's like, this is real cushy. This is real nice. He sounds really judgy. Like, wow, you're not suffering,
Yes,
so therefore you're not serving.
Yes. You're not suffering, therefore you're not serving.
Yeah.
And I imagine the Earth Force heavy cruiser is very submarine-like.
Yeah.
Where it's entirely optimized for like interior volume,
Yeah.
minimal interior volume. And so everybody has small rooms. The hallways are very narrow.
That sounds horrifying. It's kind of like in Wing Commander. When you imagine, I wonder if you're in one of those Earth Force ships that look like a submarine. Is it like in Wing Commander where when they film you, you have to bob up and down like you're on the water?
Maybe.
I think so. Maybe. It would explain it if you didn't have any gravity and you couldn't stay in one place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring back Wing Commander. Felt like the right moment. But he's like, we're going to have a lot of fun here. I can tell. Like, my people need some R&R. And Sinclair's like, yeah, the fuck you do. I'm sorry. Did it look like I wanted you here? Because I don't want you here.
Yeah, don't get too comfortable.
Yeah, and Pierce is like, yeah, you actually don't have any say over whether or not I'm here. And he's like, I kind of think I do. And yeah, don't get too comfortable because I'm going to kick you off. Because he tells him, like, we were on our way to the vegan outpost, which is spelled vegan, by the way.
When I searched this up, I was trying to find more information about the vegan sector. And Google AI overview was just talking about vegan recipes.
Yeah. It makes me wonder.
I had to rephrase it as outpost in Vega.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, did the vegans all get together and leave the planet and make an outpost out by the rim in the vegan system? And every once in a while, they have to fly out there to make sure they're all still alive.
Oh, by the way, I'm vegan. It's the name of the star system.
Yeah. No, as in I'm from Vega. Okay. Well, how do you know that? How do you know someone that you invited to dinner is vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. But he received a countermand order or whatever. And Sinclair is like, okay, so but like why? Like whose authority? Who told you could come here? And he goes, oh, the Office of Planetary Security. They relayed what you've discovered on Epsilon 3, which means they sent the text, the information that was like, whoa, ship or planet-sized machine. Great new technology. That went all the way to Earth and then bounced all the way back to this guy in like 15 seconds because then Garibaldi was like, oh no, something's coming through the jump gate.
Right.
It's fine. I'm not going to keep harping on the timing. It's fine. And he's like, a new and potentially revolutionary technology. And really the whole gist of what Captain Pierce says here is, even though it's hundreds of years in the future, surprise bitches, we're America in space.
But since this is neutral territory, every race on this station is going to stake a claim to what you found down there. Now, my orders are to make sure Earth gets first dibs, to prevent anyone else from sending down a team, and to protect this station when the other races get tired of being told they can't take what's ours. I don't know if you appreciate how messy this situation can get.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we need our piece of that pie. In fact, if anyone else gets a piece of that pie, I'll be real mad about it.
This is our first piece of evidence that the universe of Babylon 5 is very close to becoming the corporate rim in Murderbot.
Yeah. Well, it's not really our first, because remember we had that guy who was willing to murder a customs agent?
Our most recent, yeah.
Yeah, this is just yet more evidence
Yeah.
that it is space-time grabby hands is how we have...
Yeah, the military gets utilized to seize assets to fuel capitalism.
Right. There has been a real push in the Earth government to discover and integrate new technologies after the war, because we got our butt beat. And now they're like, wow, we need weapons that can stand up to these people that we've met in space, instead of being like, wow, we should really cooperate with these people so they don't want to shoot us. We're like, uh-oh, we need to make sure we can shoot them harder, which is why I feel like it's America in space.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's basically like, listen, Sinclair, I think this cushy job position has gone to your head, and I really don't think
You're
you
going
understand.
soft.
don't think you understand how messy this situation can be. And Sinclair is like, I think I recognize and understand that we had this shit under control until a giant heavy cruiser showed up. And now everyone is going, hey, I wonder why there's a heavy cruiser outside the station. Whereas before, nobody was asking fucking anything.
Right.
So it kind of sounds like you are the one who made the situation messy. And he's like, okay, well, I'm here in case a show of force is required. And if they know we're here, they're going to be less inclined to start something.
Yeah.
But they're not like, it's fine. Earth, as now, has the tendency to throw around, hey, we have really big guns. But like fucking so does everybody else.
Right.
And you're in neutral territory, so literally anyone could show up to try to fight you.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they're like, it's fine, it's fine. And Babylon 5 gets hit once, and then they're like, we can't get hit again. It's a big target. It can't get
Right.
hit more than once?
Not on the same section, but they were shooting the small spherical section at the end.
So don't act like your gun is bigger than everybody else's when it isn't necessarily.
I told Rachel in Star Trek, this would be a separate the saucer section episode where you eject the part of the ship that's big and has all the civilians.
I think I was
and just send it off somewhere.
I think I was just triggered by what we need here is a show of force.
Yeah.
Too soon. Never again would have been too soon. And he's like, okay, so what's the status of your prisoner? And Sinclair's like, you mean the patient that I brought up and put in
You mean the
med lab?
sentient being?
You mean the person that I rescued from the planet? Yeah, okay, whatever.
Prisoner.
He literally says, you know what? He's in med lab. Why don't you go put a gun to his head? Maybe that show of force will help. You know what? It's not even the first time I've had somebody in med lab and one of you guys went in there and killed him for your own purposes. In fact, the head of the president's security was here and she did it first. So you're not even original. He goes, this is not some backwater outpost or a bronze tech world where you just whip your little dick out and we all fall in line. Do. He's like, this is a diplomatic station and you are not diplomatic. You are heavy handed and you need to get the fuck out of here because you are not the kind of help that we need. This is when he's like, so enjoy the accommodations because you won't be here long. That's it.
Yep.
So he goes full Sinclair smash right away. And then
he's on the defensive now.
Yeah, because he goes straight from there to go talk to the senator.
Hidoshi. Yep.
Hidoshi. And I really liked that interaction because it's interesting to know that Congress will get no more effective in hundreds of years. Because he's like, I don't know, my hands are tied. I can't do anything. Oh, no.
Yeah, and I feel like Sinclair is learning from his past lessons where he did not escalate early enough.
Yeah.
And it ends up being beneficial in this episode because he gets this guy showing up in the heavy cruiser saying, okay, we're taking over this situation with the planet. And immediately Sinclair goes to the senator and says, I want like confirmation from the president that, but he's like, I'm not going to give up my authority over the planet until I get like instructions from the president.
Yeah.
Either telling me yes or backing up that I still have absolute jurisdiction here.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, what?
And at the end, they do get confirmation from the president.
Yeah. That no,
And
Sinclair
that's what,
has the ultimate authority in that sector.
right. And that's what gets the captain to back off.
Yeah.
Kind of just in time.
Yeah. It works out.
Yeah.
But it's a really good moment because he goes there.
But if he had delayed like he had
it wouldn't
previously,
have come through in time.
Then the situation could have gotten worse.
Yeah. We've seen him go to Senator Hitoshi before and him be like, I don't know. I've got these little arms and I can't push the buttons.
I'm just an elected official.
I can't make these kind of decisions by myself. And him having to just kind of take it. And this time he's like, no, I was assured by the president himself that I was the ultimate authority in this region. And so if you want me to cede authority, I need confirmation from the president himself because I was given it by the president. It must be taken away by the president.
Yeah.
And I have to imagine the president did that as like to prevent exactly this thing from happening.
Yeah.
Where anytime somebody wanted to swing their dick around, they could just show up. And he's basically like, what do I look like? Garibaldi? You think you can just take over my job and I'm gonna just fall in line? And Hitoshi's like, well, maybe I can get him to like share. And he's like, I do not share. This is not a sharing moment. This is my station. And if I have to resign because you can't fucking get it together, I will resign. And then where will you be?
Right. And then where will you be with the Minbari?
Yeah. We're not quite there yet because that's what he goes off to do. But we do get a little interlude. And this, I wanted to make sure we talked about it because it's when Garibaldi is going. He's having his like straight up glass of water at the bar.
Yeah.
He's having a rough time. He can't get a hold of Lise. He had to reveal to the Psi Corps that he knew about their super secret base on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one fewer secret in his little secret bag. And he's just kind of having a shitty time. And so he's drinking some water at the bar. And there's a news broadcast playing. And it's like, yeah, so Earth Alliance President Santiago is bowing to pressure to use force to subdue the Mars Rebellion. So they were trying to subdue the Mars Rebellion without sending in troops because you don't want to deploy troops on your own people.
Right.
Turns out that's a terrible idea. It's a
Really?
terrible idea to deploy your own troops against your own people because it sets a really scary precedent. And the people at the bar are like, hell yeah, it's about fucking time you sent those people in there. I can't, I'm sorry. I should probably not do the Southern accent. It feels right, though. It just feels right. So like, go get them, boys. Show them crummy Marsies. And Garibaldi's like, hey, they're fucking people. They're people, too. And they're like, well, they don't think they're like us. So, like, why should I think they're like us? Just a bunch of fucking snowflakes. And he goes, we get taxed, so they get all the best atmosphere reprocessors. They ought to be grateful instead of pulling this garbage. So we're subsidizing that. They feel entitled to clean air.
Yeah.
How often do they need to breathe anyway? They need to pay for their own shit. And Garibaldi's like, okay, all right, fine. Like, whatever. He's not going to engage. He's not going to. And then the guy keeps going. He's like, the solution's simple. We got to gas them all and then just go in and kill them. Break some heads. He goes, like my granddad used to say, nuke them till they glow and then shoot them in the dark.
Like my granddad used to say, nuke them till they glow and then shoot them in the dark. That'd take care of them. Just like magic.
Magic? Want to see magic? I got a little magic trick for you. Hey, get that magic clip pass through the top of the bar.
Hey, let go!
I'll need complete silence. I'll have to ask for another volunteer from the audience. Let's see, what was that magic word again? Shazam? No, that's not it. I'll tell you what, I'll go home and look at my books, then I'll come back. If you're still talking trash about killing Marsies, we'll try it again and again until we get it right, huh?
Oof.
Which is a thing.
Is that a line from somewhere else?
It's a line from, I think, World War II.
Okay.
I don't quote me on that, but Dad would say it sometimes. So it must be from something. And he's like, that'd take care of him. Like magic. And Garibaldi's like, oh, magic? You want to
I'll
see a
show
magic
you a
trick?
magic trick.
And I really want this to be like the magic trick from Dark Knight where he puts the pencil, sticks the pencil on the table. It's the only scene from that movie that I remember because the rest of it was so traumatic. But that scene, I was like, that was good. I'm going to make this pencil disappear. And he wham, smacks the guy's head on the table.
Mm-hmm.
I like to imagine that that's how this would have gone down if it had not been on broadcast television in the 90s. Yeah. Because he doesn't even doesn't even actually slam his head all the way down.
Yeah.
He doesn't even do the like stage thing where he slaps his hands down.
The first time he does.
Okay. The
I
second
saw
time.
the hand go down.
Yeah. The second time it was just like, I don't know. I just ricocheted off like 5 inches above the bar. It's fine. This scene is really good. Sometimes Garibaldi feels like a direct lift from some like 1950s and 60s Twilight Zone episode. Like they pulled the noir detective and dropped him in Babylon 5. But this time his dialogue works really well because he goes, I got a magic trick. I can make your head pass through the bar. And then they start to say something. He goes, shh, I need silence or I'm going to have to ask for another volunteer from the audience. And he goes, what's that magic word again? Oh, I need to go look in my books. And if you're still talking trash, we'll try it again and again and again until we get it right.
This is not a good look.
It was not a good look for Garibaldi.
It's not a good look for station security.
But I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not like, that was a betrayal of Garibaldi's character in any way. It feels like this is the Garibaldi that got fired 4 to 5 times in a row. Yeah. This is the Garibaldi that made a woman so mad she came and murdered people on your station to try to get back at you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Garibaldi.
And this is sober Garibaldi.
Yeah. Sober, stressed Garibaldi. So you can only imagine what he was like, slightly less inhibited.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. It's a good moment. Like good moment in that it shows us. It's kind of like my complaint in Murderbot books versus Murderbot TV show is like the Murderbot books, of course, I love them, but you never for once believe that Murderbot is ever going to actually hurt anybody.
Right.
And so in the show, they're definitely trying to give you that moment of like, oh, this is why it's so scary. And this is why people are afraid of sec units.
Yeah.
And it's important. Like Garibaldi keeps telling us that he's had a rough life and that he's made mistakes.
But now he's showing us.
And now we're like, oh, there it is. Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right, I get it. Yeah, that's why this is in there. And it works. And this is when we cut to Sinclair talking to the senator. And my favorite part in this is when he's like, the president is rather busy with the revolt on Mars right now. And Sinclair's like, does that look like my fucking problem? Do I look like I care? Like my situation is less important because he's busy? You need to pencil me in, motherfucker, because I'm not gonna do anything until I get confirmation from the president. He's like, well, maybe I can get him to like share jurisdiction. And he's like
no.
He goes, Senator, like, are you fucking serious?
I'm gonna follow up on the paper trail here. Whatever you send to the president, and you better not use the word shared jurisdiction.
He literally says, I'll resign if I have to.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, fine. I'll try to get the communication or whatever, but it's the best I can do for right now. And then he hangs up. And then he goes to take Michael O'Hare, the actor, is trying to take his jacket off. And his little communicator beeps. I don't know if this was ad-libbed or not, but I love it.
This feels like a blooper that they left in.
That just works better.
Yeah.
It works because he's like, oh my God, fuck it. And he has to like pull his arm out, which we've all been there where you're like, I need this thing to happen urgently.
Why did my belt loop get stuck on the doorknob, door handle? This only happens when I'm pissed off.
Always.
It knows. When it's
to...
really just a lack of coordination because you're distracted.
Yeah. Well, he's in the middle of like undressing for the night and he gets a communication and he has to like pull his arm out. And then he's like, yes. And he goes, or Ivanova's like, something's happening on Epsilon 3. You need to come take a look. And he's like, okay. And he just puts his arm back in the jacket and walks out the door. Like, all right. I didn't even get to take my shirt off.
Nope.
And what has happened is Captain Pierce has decided in his infinite wisdom that the best possible thing for him to do in this situation is try to land on Epsilon 3 like Sinclair landed on Epsilon 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if this is a endemic in the Earth Alliance problem because everyone we've met, every Earth Alliance officer we've met, besides the ones serving on Babylon 5, are morons.
Yeah.
Yeah, egotistical, arrogant, ineffective because they're so egotistical. Idiots.
Yeah.
Literally every single one. Like the one guy that we met literally tried to take over the station.
Right, because he was
butthurt that he didn't get the station in the first place.
Yeah. He should have gotten that promotion.
And then the lady that showed up with the president for the presidential security literally almost let everyone get blown up because she was all mad at Garibaldi.
Mm-hmm.
And then this guy's like, well, I'm just going to go land on it and look at the machines myself. I mean, what was he going to do? Does he have science officers? His only purpose is to secure the planet. That didn't require going down to it.
Right.
So this is just ego. If Sinclair can do it, I can do it too. And the nice thing about it is they don't get through because the artillery the missiles that was firing at them last time are now worse. So they're encountering fire from the surface, but it's a definite escalation from before. And so they end up having to pull back. And Sinclair calls Captain Pierce from his little playpen in the corner of the room. He gets to use his telephone. And he's like, okay, put him through. And he goes, what's the idea of sending a team to the planet without consulting me? And Captain Pierce goes, unnecessary. I didn't need to talk to you about this. I already had your log. I had your flight pattern. I knew everything about how to get down there. It was going to be fine. And Sinclair's like, oh, was it fine? How'd it go? How many ships did you get down to the planet? Oh,
How
none?
many ships did you lose?
Oh, none? Oh, well, it's because you can't reach the surface without a jamming device. And Captain Pierce is like, what? It's really like you need the thingamabob. What? I didn't know I needed a thingamabob. And he's like, oh, yeah, we definitely have a thingamabob, but it's being repaired. So I'll just let you know about it later. Babylon Control out. And Ivanova, I hope, is not in the video screen when they're making the phone call. Because as soon as he says jamming device, she looks at him like, the fuck? Ivanova, keep it together. Keep it together.
Got to
She's
turn
like,
on that auto framing on the camera.
I know. She's like, we didn't have a jamming device. We didn't have a jamming device.
He's
And
like,
he's
yeah,
but
we know that.
he doesn't know that. And it'll discourage him from sending more ships down there. And then an alarm starts going off and he goes, what's that? And she's like, oh, yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to tell you about. Good thing it conveniently went off because I totally forgot. But there's increased seismic activity on Epsilon 3. And so basically when they took the guy out of the machine and brought him back, and then Captain Pierce tried to then go onto the planet, it triggered like a self-destruct cycle.
Yeah.
And so
Fail safe.
right. So there's quakes, but they look more like massive artificial disruption is what they call it. And the planet is effectively breaking up from the inside out. So to keep this machine from falling into the wrong hands, it will blow itself the fuck up. The problem being Babylon 5 cannot move. Babylon 5 is just a station.
Right.
And there's 250,000 humans and aliens on it. And they're right next to a planet that could very likely explode soon. So the Hyperion can leave, but they can't leave. So we go to commercial break and we come back, and Ivanova has taken off her jacket. And her jacket is so tight. I can only imagine how like wrinkled this blousy white shirt must get under the jacket and then get pushed against her skin. So every time she moves, she would feel the wrinkles on the inside of her jacket. It'd be horrifying. That's a horror story. And you'd be so sweaty.
Yeah.
But everyone is dressed down a little bit and they're drinking coffee because this is like it's a bit of a
It's
scrum.
serious.
It's a scrum meeting.
This is
Your morning
overtime.
stand up. Just like, okay, all right, where is everybody at? How are we doing? What do you need from me? But Ivanova says, you know, our scans kind of confirm what we thought, which is that it's honeycombed with tunnels down there. And they have a network of advanced fusion reactors, some of which are 5 to 10 miles across. And then she says that they are at critical mass. Can a fusion reactor reach critical mass? Matthew?
Yeah, critical mass is used to describe a situation in nuclear power,
Yeah.
but it's usually applied to fission reactors where fission is a sustained chain reaction, but if the chain reaction gets too big, it gets too big to turn off.
Yeah.
With the way that a fission reactor is moderated, they have rods that go down in between the fuel rods to slow down the chain reaction. But if it gets too too big, the control rods don't do anything. There are other styles of fission reactors other than just like the fuel rods, like the molten salt reactors. But for fusion, I think probably.
Well, did they use fuel in the same way?
No.
So could it reach a point where the fuel is reacting so quickly you can't stop it?
It could reach a point where you're feeding in usually hydrogen and fusing it into helium, or what's the one they use? Now there's an unstable version of hydrogen tritium.
Isn't that what they use in Spider-Man?
Yeah, because they're doing fusion.
Okay, yeah. The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
So there is a situation where the fusion reaction could get so big that it melts.
Isn't that the plot of Spider-Man 2?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Dr. Octopus.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to
they could get going big enough, like a large enough fusion reaction in these fusion reactors.
So critical mass is possible. You just wouldn't maybe call it critical mass.
Yeah.
They're getting ready to blow up. And Garibaldi, who is there, I imagine just for the plucky commentary, because I don't know why else you would include Garibaldi in this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, because you're going to need him if you have to evacuate, because security is going to be the one that keeps everybody from panicking.
Yeah, they're the people movers.
He just weighs in with, doomsday machine. And Ivanova's like, I mean, yeah, basically. And we have 48 hours at most before it blows. The planet will blow and it will take us with it. It'll take us with it. Yeah. And Sinclair's like, okay, so how long would it take for us to evacuate? And Garibaldi's like, oh my God, with every ship in the sector, it could take 3 to 5 days. We're not all getting off.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, okay, have you informed Pierce? And he's like, yeah, we told him. But that's why he wants to go back down again. And Sinclair just looks at Ivanova and is like, your opinion? He does a very good job of like, I know who has the strengths here. I'm going to work with it. And Ivanova's like, yeah, no, not a chance. No, there's no fucking way he should go back down there, because the reaction started when he tried to land. Mm-hmm. So my guess is the entire planet is booby-trapped to keep it from falling into the wrong hands. And Garibaldi points out, accurately, you guys did it, and it didn't escalate anything. Like, the planet didn't start blowing up when you landed on it. And I think it's because the planet could sense that it was Sinclair in the ship. It's like, this is going to be fine. But also, it's because there was somebody there telling it to not freak out.
Right.
So they took Varn out of the machine, and now the machine is on autopilot, and its main instinct is just to blow itself up.
Right.
And they're like, oh, you mean the guy you brought back? He was crucial? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. He looked pretty crucial. I mean, he was in like a big machine thing. Mm-hmm. Luckily, they managed to land on the exact part of the planet that they could then walk to where Varn was. Because they could have landed anywhere else on the planet.
Okay, my headcanon is that Varn opened that fissure.
Oh, okay.
To allow a path.
Okay. That's a good headcanon. I appreciate that.
And I think that's why Dr. Tasaki says that fissure is artificial.
Yeah.
Because it just happens to be right where, like, missile launchers are.
Yeah, where everything they needed is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. But basically they decide they're going to give it 12 more hours to see if they can figure their shit out. And if they can't, then they'll start evacuating. Because as soon as they make the evacuation order, it's going to be a panic. They're going to stampede. Everyone's going to freak out. We're not going to be able to get anything done anyway. So let's try to get something done, and then we'll try to evacuate.
Yeah.
But Garibaldi, Ivanova, go ahead and tell all your people, because we need to be ready.
Right. It would take a few hours just to disseminate all the instructions and get all the like security and logistics people lined up.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get that done.
To like facilitate an evacuation. So they're probably, all the security people are probably like spreading out through the station to be evenly spaced and pass information around.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a binder that's like, here's what you do. Yep. So let's go ahead and get that started, but like not make the announcement yet. And in the meantime, why don't you guys get something to eat, try to sleep for an hour or two. Shit's going to get bad. That way, at least we're all rested. And Ivanova gets one of her straight
Russian
comedy
comments.
lines.
Yeah.
Where she's like, if we go down there, it blows. If not, it blows anyway. Good thing I'm Russian. We're used to hopeless situations.
Yeah.
It's cute. And then we come back to Londo because for some reason, Londo is like a main player in this episode. And I really wonder because Varn chose all of the people that he appeared to.
Mm-hmm.
And he chose Drawl and Sinclair and Londo Malari.
Which means either two things. This is a testament to the depths of Londo's character
That we don't know about yet.
that we haven't learned yet,
Yeah.
or Varn's judgment is compromised.
I think it's probably more like that one. Well, I think he probably chose 3 likely candidates.
Yeah.
Although I don't ever see Londo giving up his individuality because it wouldn't be for the
Right.
Republic. For the Republic, sure. It's a very... We're going to get there because later, Londo is going to risk his actual life in order to try to get down to the planet
Mm-hmm.
and apparently fly for the first time in who knows how long. Since Frollis 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
And,
And of course, he has his own purple shuttle.
oh, I mean, in purple, I'm stunning, right? So it makes you wonder because all right, let me see how I want to phrase this. It does not feel out of character for Londo. Somehow having him do this is like, of course Londo would do this. But this is the Londo who was like, it doesn't matter. I've already forgotten how to dance, but it doesn't matter because my shoes are too tight.
Mm-hmm.
This is like poet Londo. The like heart Londo. The Londo that he would have been if he hadn't been forced to be a politician.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, honestly, the theme of these 2 episodes was stated pretty early on, and we called it, which is the 3rd principle of sentient life.
Right.
The capacity to sacrifice yourself. And this confirms Londo as a sentient being, I guess, because he's willing to potentially sacrifice himself
Right.
for a cause. And the current cause is keep Babylon 5 from blowing up.
Now I'm imagining Drawl having some model for what a sentient mind looks like
Yeah.
when it has the capacity for self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
And so he can use the machine, whatever, to help him, scan around and identify people that have the psychological predisposition
Yeah.
to sacrifice themselves for the cause or whatever. And we see that Drawl, Sinclair, and Londo see this message from Drawl
Yeah.
calling
From
for
Varn.
help from Varn.
Yeah.
But what if there were dozens of other people on the station
Who are all
that
saying
also had that honorable self-sacrifice vibe going on?
Yeah.
And this whole sequence of events establishes a whole bunch of urban myths on Babylon 5
About ghosts.
about this ghost that calls for help.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes more sense than only appearing to 3 people.
Right. So in my head, lots of people saw Drawl,
Okay.
but we only hear about
The ones that we
Sinclair
film
and
every day.
Londo and Drawl. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Because Londo runs up to Ivanova and he's like, oh my God, just the person I'm looking for. She goes, Ambassador, this is not a good time. And he's like, oh, I imagine not. But you've been holding out on me. And she's like, I don't know what you mean. It's all status quo. And he goes, oh, okay. So an Earth war cruiser is parked along the station. There's a bunch of mysterious trips to the planet. There's rumors that you found someone down there and brought them back here. And this is all status quo? Wow, I want to live your life where that's just business as usual.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Situation is status quo.
Of course. An Earth war cruiser parked alongside the station. Mysterious trips to the planet beneath us. Rumors that you have found someone down there and brought him back here. This to you is status quo, yes? You must lead a very interesting life.
Ambassador.
You did find something down there, didn't you? Something valuable, perhaps? I wish to remind you that my government has contributed substantial amounts of money to this station. We are entitled to an equal share of anything you find down there.
Ambassador, do you really want to know what's going on down there right now?
Yes, absolutely.
Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom. Have a nice day.
Did you find something down there?
It's kind of a big deal.
Did you find something down there? Is it valuable? And he's like, I would like to remind you that my government contributed a lot of money to this station.
Yeah.
So we're kind of entitled to an equal share of anything you find, which is true. I would argue that is true. This is neutral space. Nobody owns this planet. Everybody contributed to building this space station. So technically speaking, this is like shared land. This is the tragedy of the commons.
Right.
Yeah. So she goes, do you really want to know what's going on? You want to know? You want to know? And Lando's like, yeah, that's why I'm fucking standing here. And she goes, okay, boom, 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 boom. Have a nice day. And leaves. You know, boom, no boom today, boom tomorrow. There's always a boom tomorrow. And Lando's like, oh, you could never get a fucking straight answer out of anybody, and then leaves. She was actually giving him everything, shit's going hinky and everything's blowing up.
Yep.
And then we come to the Minbari version of transitioning to the end of a joke, which is Delenn laughing and going, oh, I knew you'd say that. What did Drawl say? We don't know. But then Drawl hears Drawl.
I liked it. So I guess the site that I found that had some of the trivia had us. They go episode by episode.
Yeah.
But they have like a JMS Speaks section
Yeah, you
at the
probably
end.
found the same thing I found.
Yeah. And I liked that JMS brought up for this episode specifically that we had a lot of scenes with Delenn
Yeah.
showing a lot of emotion.
Yes. This is the softest we've seen her.
Yeah. And he said he really, really liked letting Mira Furlan have the chance to like actually laugh
Yes.
out loud.
And have fun.
Like belly laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. It was good. This was a good moment for Delenn because we've seen Delenn as the stoic stateswoman, but never as
or the sage.
Delenn the person. Yeah, she's always the sage.
Right. And here we get to see Delenn the woman.
Yeah. And it was really nice. It's a really good moment. And of course it took her gay best friend to show up.
To get a reaction out of her.
To get her to just chill out and laugh and remember what it's like to maybe not be so serious all the time. And someone pointed out, and we did mention, if you correct us, thank you, which was the going to the sea is a Lord of the Rings reference.
Yes, like the elves go into the west.
Into the west. And I said, does that make Delenn Galadriel? And I feel like I've never been more right in my entire life.
100%.
100%. And then it reminded me of the only part of Lord of the Rings of Power that I actually watched, which is where Galadriel's on the ship. And then she's like, fuck all this shit. And she jumps off the ship to swim
swims back.
And I was like, that's my girl. That's my girl. And that's the last I watched of Rings of Power. But it's fine. It's fine. That's a me thing. I finally watched a new television show. We do have a Discord left over from the days when the Patreon used to be more active. And there's some people still on there. So every once in a while we'll share stuff. And so I was like, guys, I watched Severance because I tried watching Severance. And I like to think
we got to the last episode of season 2 and we're about 3/4 of the way through. And I messaged Kate and I said, Rachel's not going to make it through Severance. We've already had like 3 reflexively pick up the remote incidents where she's getting ready to just turn off the TV. But then she's like, no, you're watching this too.
And they were like, listen, we're just proud of you for watching something that was made after the year 2000. And I was like, you recognize what a sacrifice this was for me. You watch new TV and then it betrays you. And then they cancel it. That's why I don't watch it. Everything gets fucking canceled now. Anyway, that's a soapbox. Anyway. But Drawl gets called by Varn. And so Drawl's like, I'm going. So Drawl scarpers off down the hallway after the invisible disembodied voice, which is, it's a nice thing the Minbari are as much spiritual as they are technologically advanced because they're not like, what could that possibly be? They're just like, oh no, the universe is calling me.
Right. They're more
I shall follow.
open-minded, receptive.
It's a good build for a race.
Right.
It makes them very elven.
Mm.
which I
Absolutely.
just now realized.
You just now realized
I
that the Minbari are
know.
elves?
Does that make the Narn the like orc characters?
Ooh, that's a good point.
And then it would make
Because-
Londo like the dwarf character, like the
yeah.
obsessed with wealth characters.
Yeah. The Centauri are dwarves.
The Minbari are elves, which would make the Narn like the misunderstood orc race. Because they're the warlike,
Yeah.
we live in caves.
So I wonder if this would be a post Return of the King orc society.
Yeah, like, you know what, guys? Maybe we're not all just born evil. Because if we're if we're born evil, I don't know, that sort of negates the idea of free will. And maybe some of us just want to be Ferdinand, like we just want to smell the flowers, but instead we're marched off to war and used as cannon fodder. It leads to interesting questions. You know, if this is Lord of the Rings inspired, that's good to keep in mind. I feel like we meet some wizards later too. We definitely do. Anyway, we come back to Sinclair arriving at Garibaldi's room. Garibaldi has ordered space pizza.
He made dinner.
He made dinner, which I love that this is like a plastic corrugated box with stickers on it. Like Sparks. Do you think they throw it away or do you think they reuse them?
Oh, reuse it.
They have to reuse them. Yeah. You couldn't generate too much trash. It would get, because you'd have to be bringing
just go in the
things
prop room. Yeah.
Just go in the prop room. Somewhere, somebody has this pizza box. But he's like, hey, Jeff, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I just thought I'd come and see what you were doing. And Garibaldi's like, you heard about the mess hall, didn't you? Or you heard about the Zocalo, didn't you? And he's like, yeah, that's why I'm here. He's like, but the magic trick thing was kind of clever, though, wasn't it? That's not what he says. He goes, did they file a complaint? And he's like, no, they didn't file a complaint, but they could have. He goes, I know. It was stupid. This is the part where Sinclair doesn't say anything. He just lets Garibaldi talk through it. He's like, I know it was dumb, but you didn't hear them. People are dying on Mars and they don't give a shit. They're not even real people to them. It's like they've let propaganda dehumanize anyone that doesn't look like them or come from where they come from. And then they're totally comfortable with the government doing whatever they want to those people.
Yeah.
And are you even still human if you can't recognize the humanity in somebody else? I don't know. I kind of feel like sentience is a mirror. Do you pass the mirror test? Can you see sentience in other people? Or do you believe you are the only person who is entitled to safety and security and food and shelter? Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what this whole conversation was about. It felt like that's what this whole conversation was about. Basically, Garibaldi's like, I don't know, I'm just really worried about Lise. Okay. And Sinclair's like, well, we can't have you doing that anymore. So I know some people. I'm from Mars. There's some brass on Mars that owe me a favor. I'll
pull some strings.
And I'll get you a phone call. Okay? If you promise me maybe no more beating people up while wearing your uniform or like at any time ever, and definitely never wear a mask and then go kidnap somebody off the Zocalo. That would not,
Foreshadowing.
that would not be a thing we should do. And he's basically like, okay, thank you. Because really I was feeling powerless. Because what am I supposed to, how can I help you in this situation with the planet? What can I do? Arrest it? Like my only authority here is to help get people off the station. And I'm not even going to be able to get everybody off. And then he has this conversation with Sinclair about why he never called Lise. After everything went down. And he's like, I was afraid. I was afraid she would hang up on me. I was afraid she wouldn't hang up on me. I was afraid we were still in love. I was afraid we weren't still in love. Like, I was just afraid. And if I never called her, it's sort of like Schrodinger's relationship. It's both gone and not gone until I call her.
Right.
And I don't know if we should have done something about it. And if I call her, will we have to? And I don't know if I can. And Sinclair's like, it's cool, man. I've been there. Like, I get it. You're in a weird place. But honestly, you should have recorded that conversation and just sent it to Lise because it's exactly what you need to tell her.
And I feel like that's a trope in the unrequited relationship, like, narrative where the person says, oh, I didn't because I love them so much.
Yeah.
And if they tell me no, they don't love me too, then my dream is over.
Yeah.
But
If I just
if
don't
they-
say anything.
if they do love me too, then like I gotta
Now I have a love
I
interest.
I have to like rearrange my entire life.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Yeah.
Because
All
how
of
does
it
that
is
even
scary.
look? Yeah, that
Yeah.
was good. A good vulnerable bro moment.
This was a very good use of the Garibaldi, like noir detective.
Hmm.
The way he talks, his like cadence.
Yeah.
That was a good use of it. And then he's like, okay, so I'll get you a line, but one last thing, a favor. Sinclair goes, a favor for me. If we have to evacuate, we're not going to get everybody off. So ambassadors, women, children, and civilians first. And some of the command staff will have to stay on board until he pauses. And he goes, but can you see that Ivanova gets on the last ship? She's going to want to stay, but she's got her whole career ahead of her.
I'd appreciate it if you could make sure Ivanova gets on the last ship out. She'll want to stay, but she's got her whole career ahead of her.
Understood. She'll be on it if I have to drug her and toss her in before the doors close.
I will remind the audience that Sinclair is
39.
39.
His career's over.
He's just done. He's been put out to fucking pasture. He's 39. He's like, well, my life is basically over. I have nowhere to go, and I've risen as far in the ranks as someone my advanced age ever possibly could. So make sure you get her off of
Right.
here.
If he enlisted at 18
Yeah.
and you like retirement age is 65,
Yeah, he has 26 more years.
he's not even halfway through his
No,
career, like
no.
maximum potential career.
Right.
But
What is Ivanova supposed to be? 18? What do you mean she's got her whole career ahead of her? And so I looked up how old everyone actually is during filming. Claudia Christian is 29.
okay.
She was born in 1965. Michael O'Hare was born in 1952. So he's actually 42.
Okay.
And Garibaldi, whose name just left me,
Jerry Doyle.
Jerry Doyle, was born in 1956. So he was 38 during filming.
So how old are the characters supposed to be?
I don't know, because they're like, Ivanova has her whole career ahead of her. You do what you have to get her off of here. Okay, so Matt took the liberty of looking up how old they're actually supposed to be in the show, and it's about the same. Garibaldi's supposed to be about 37. Sinclair is supposed to be about 40, and Ivanova is supposed to be about 28.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we know Garibaldi had a long enough career on the ice mines of Europa to be able to get a reputation.
Yeah.
So maybe they start their careers real young. I don't know. What matters is it's a little ridiculous. So
Well,
he's
like we discussed earlier, a lot of the ranks have been filled in from below
Yeah.
after the line. And so you end up with the security lady who had a beef with Garibaldi
yeah.
being in a very high-ranking position for her age.
Right. Was her name Elise? No. Oh God, I was thinking Elise Hunter, and that was from Dark Knight. I don't know what just happened in my head. I don't know. Things went around, like things went awry. Anyway. Yes. So anyway, it's just a funny statement. The like, save her. She's too young to die. And I don't know. I don't feel like I'm old enough to die. I want somebody to be like, she has her whole life ahead of her. Yeah, I do. You're right. I really do. It's just, life doesn't end at 40.
Right.
And he goes, she'll be on there if I have to drug her and toss her in before the doors close. Garibaldi fucking would too.
Yeah.
He'd be like, what's that over there? Garibaldi! And then we go to Medbay, where Delenn and Drawl are like breaking into the room with Varn. And Dr. Franklin's like, you can't be in here. This is a restricted
He's
area.
talking to me.
I'm busy right now. He goes, oh, no. Drawl goes, oh, no. He's the one. I heard him call my name. Dr. Franklin's like, he did? He's comatose. He can't say anything.
I've been here the whole time. Dab, dab.
Stop it. Get me going again. He goes, I'm going to have to insist that you leave. Like, you guys got to go. Shoot. This is not for you. Shoot.
Mhm.
And Drawl just is like, okay, so anyway. And then they like put these breathers up to their mouth. It's literally just the mask from like an oxygen thing.
Yeah.
And then they walk in. And Drawl wakes up and he's like, oh, hey. Or not Drawl, Varn. You're doing it. Got me doing it too. Varn wakes up and he's like, oh, good, Drawl. You help planet below. Do not land. Do not approach. Will explode. Oh, well, actually, we already did that.
It's already in progress.
Without the heart, without another, there is another Skywalker. Then we come back to Sinclair and Ivanova, and Sinclair's like, okay, I got your message. And Ivanova's like, yeah, patient is awake and confirming all of our information. If any ships land there, the planet explodes.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom. And Sinclair's like, great. Did you tell the Hyperion? And she's like, I did, but he's figured out that there's no jamming device. And he's already launched another group of ships headed towards the planet. And Sinclair's like, oh, no, he fucking didn't. Get him on the line. And Ivanova's like, already done. Like, I'm so ready for this. She just, boop, pushes
He's
the button.
already waiting in the Zoom meeting.
Yes. The creator has started this meeting or whatever. They will join you. The host is, they'll join you in a few minutes. She's just ready. She's ready to see Sinclair yell at Captain Pierce again is what it is.
This is a teachable moment for Ivanova.
Yeah.
Where Sinclair can pass on some skills.
Yeah, I think if he wants to pass anything on, it's his the Sinclair smash technique, which is you just know your shit,
right,
and then don't back down. Get good, exactly. Here's your first piece of advice, Ivanova. Just get good. And then he goes, get Pierce on the line. She goes, done. Boop, hits the button, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing? That planet is about to blow, and we just got confirmation that if you land on it, it's going to explode." And Pierce is like, yeah, from someone who has every reason to lie. No, he doesn't. What reason does he have to lie? He's dying. What's he protecting the planet from?
Right.
You can look. It's like the beam. Look with your eyes. It's getting ready to explode. Look with your sensors. The fusion reactors are headed towards critical mass. I think it's fairly believable. It confirms what everyone is already saying, which means it doesn't feel like a lie. It feels like confirmation, but it's fine. Captain Pierce is basically like, we figured it out. We're pretty sure we know how to get down there and land safely. As long as we're careful, it's going to be fine. And Sinclair's like, no, you are jeopardizing the lives of everyone on this station by whipping your dick out. You need to put it back in your pants and quit fucking trying to land on the planet. And Captain Pierce is like, Commander, that's not your decision. We're going. What are you going to do? Shoot us down? And Sinclair's like, you're goddamn right, I will. Yeah. Correct. Yes, I will be shooting you down.
Accurate assessment.
And Captain Pierce is like, what? Excuse me? And he just goes, put Delta and Zeta flight on alert. Zeta's the one that never, ever actually gets launched. Put them on alert. Stand by for launch, which means those guys have been doing nothing. And then suddenly they're like, oh no, get in the ships. They have to jump in real quick. And Ivanova goes, orders? And he's like, yeah, planetary blockade. You keep anyone from going down to that planet. And Captain Pierce is like, are you really going to do that? If you order your ships to fire on my fighters, you can kiss your career goodbye. And he's like, if you go down there, we're all going to die anyway, so I don't fucking care. My career's already over. I'm 39.
I don't have anything to live for.
And this is the part where we know that Captain Pierce has not read the file on Sinclair because he goes, you're bluffing. I'm sorry, sir, but Sinclair only bluffs when he knows he's going to get away with it. Otherwise, it's real. And he's like, oh, am I? Okay, stand by for launch. I mean, it's up to you as far as I'm concerned. We have nothing to lose, so make my day. He just goes, okay, status. And then our little tech is like, they're canceling the launch.
Thank you, Tech One.
Thank you, Tech One. Sinclair's like, great, tell the fighters to stand down, but keep them ready. And this is when we get another ship coming through the jump gate.
Oh no, what is it?
Luckily, this is when you're like, can you not turn the jump gate off? Be like, I'm sorry, close for business right now. Boop, boop. Lock it from that side.
Yeah.
I think you have to have a code to open it.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you have to have a code to go through it one way, but not to come out of it.
Probably they generally leave it open, but I know they can block it.
That
the
anything
Babylon
can
5
come
side.
out, can just approach the gate and come out is terrifying because you don't
Yeah.
know what lives in hyperspace and what could just come out of the jump gate at any moment. Like this thing, this is a really cool ship.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the ship from the new Star Trek, the Chris
The Romulan.
Pine- yeah, the Romulan
Yeah.
ship, the like mining ship. We watched that with the kids the other day, and honestly, I wish that they'd gotten more love. The original, the like Star Trek reboots that they did, because they were so good. And people were like, I don't know. It got a lot of contemporary hate. And I feel like if you go back and watch it now, they're good.
Yeah.
Of course, we'd have to replace Anton Yelchin. R.I.P. But basically, it comes through the jump gate, and then it's like, "Beep-oo." Oh no, they're scanning us. That accesses all their language files. And then they pop up and they're like, hey, we learned your language. You're welcome. My name is Takarin. You're welcome. Because-
Karen.
Yes, it's Takarin.
Takarin.
T-A-K, but Takarin.
You pronounce it like Takarin.
Takarin makes way more sense.
Yeah.
This is the ship full of Karens. Because later they're like, aren't these your people? And Barnes like, oh, hell no.
No, we kicked them out.
Oh, no. These are like violent insurgents. We put them in a ship and we just fired them off into space. Who could have known they would finally come back? They learned how to turn around and come back the other direction. Well, they finally turned around and came back because they got tired of arguing with each other, I guess. Yeah. They appointed a leader Karen. Anyway, they've been looking for 500 years for this planet.
Isn't this the plot of one of the Star Trek TNG movies?
Which one?
There's a valuable planet, and there's the people who live on it, and then there's the violent outcasts from the planet that are trying to take it back.
Yes, that's the one where the planet keeps you young.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, where the planet keeps you young.
See?
Oh, no. You're right. And they didn't send them off. There was a group that left to go to try to have a better life or whatever, because they didn't want to be stuck there immortal on an
forever young
on an idyllic farming planet forever. This fucking sucks, Mom. I really want to grow old and die. Okay, then you have to leave, honey. If you want to grow old and die, you got to go. Okay, fine. I'll grow old and die.
But then they use a bunch of life extension technology.
Yeah, but as soon as they come back to the planet, they don't need them anymore. Like being on the planet reverses you back.
Mm-hmm.
Like it makes you
I
young
healed Geordie's
again.
eyes.
I know. I'm conflicted about that, but it's fine.
Oh, well, you know what happened was he has a genetic condition.
Yeah.
So his eyes heal on the planet.
Yeah.
But as soon as he leaves again, his degenerative condition continues, and so he loses his eyes again.
Right. Oh no,
So-
I remember that part. Yeah.
So
I
it's not
remember
like a disability erasure.
My favorite part was just Worf going through puberty. Klingon, he just wants to rage kill everything.
Yeah.
They're like, go kill that thing over there. Anyway, yes, you're correct. This is except they haven't been looking for the planet. They know where their planet is. They just needed an excuse to go back and take over the planet. It doesn't matter. So these people are like, oh, great. Thanks for finding this for us. We've been looking for it for 500 years. Which is another to the point of a fact, or how do I want to phrase that? It points to the fact that they couldn't recreate it.
Right.
Because they had 500 years. They could
Right,
have
because
just
their
rebuilt
civilization didn't build this. It didn't build Epsilon 3.
it. Right.
I don't know if we find out another name for it later, but
No. I think the Great Machine or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Which is, on the nose, but it's what it is. Where have they been for 500 years?
looking.
Just roaming about the countryside?
Matt, go in the fridge and get out the mustard.
500 years later.
Do I have to show you where it is?
No, you turn around, someone's using the mustard. I've been looking for that for 500 years. He's like, we will give you 10 of your hours to move aside. They can't move aside. But okay, whatever.
Well, the Hyperion can.
Yeah. It's like, we don't wish to kill you, but you have 10 hours to get the fuck out of our way. And so, of course, Captain Sinclair opens a channel. He attempts to open a channel to have a diplomatic conversation with these people, but instead, Captain Pierce pops in and he's like, oh yeah, well, you have 9 hours to withdraw or we're going to shoot at you. You don't know these people's capabilities. You don't know what types of weapons they have.
Right? And there are old races.
They've been traveling for 500 years.
These people. Well,
and
actually, we don't know if these are just the descendants.
They must be the descendants
outcasts.
because they said that Varn's life had been extended.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only reason he was able to live that long is because of the machine. So these are the descendants of people that have been looking for this place for 500 years. And as far as they know, that race built the machine.
Right.
So you have every reason to believe that their weaponry may be super advanced. And yet you're like, okay, well, you have fucking 9 hours. But that's
now who's bluffing?
That's the exact line. And Ivanova just goes, wow, this is the worst case of testosterone poisoning I've ever seen. Then they go to Varn. They're like, Varn, some people showed up. Is it true this world belongs to them? And he's like, no. God, no. Ugh, no. Because they're outcasts. Violent.
We're in the UP now, Rachel.
I don't know why I can straight talk everything, but when I have to say violent without forethought, it always sounds like I get the vapors when it's hot outside.
You spent too many formative years in North Carolina.
I know. Well, they're violent anyway. Violent. He goes, my people cast them out centuries ago. I mean, honestly, there's only so many complaints to the manager that you can take before you're like, get the fuck off the planet, off all of you. Go. Get on that ship. You know what they did? They just put like free something on the ship and they all just free lipstick or whatever they all wandered on. And then they just launched it. Got them all. Yes. I love his little tube because they brought him out so that all the actors don't have to act with stuff over their face. So they put this little tube in his mouth like he needs, like that's his breathing tube. And he's like, this thing was given to me. This machine was given to me when the rest of my people died. And it's like a sacred trust, a legacy for the future. We talk about how it's for the future like 5 times. Mm-hmm. And he just tells them, like, I'm the guardian of this machine. I'm its protector. I am the machine. The machine is me. And I have waited 500 of your years for ... And they're like, okay, so you've been here all this time and you haven't contacted us? And he's like, have you seen what happened when I finally did?
I've been watching, though.
Can you look out the window? What happened when I finally talked to you? How'd that go down? Chief? You think that's great? Yeah, but I've been listening, though. Like the Real Housewives of Babylon 5. It's just been, I've been watching. How much have you been watching? When? And how much?
How much can you see?
Yeah. Wait, when my girlfriend was here. He's like, I like to watch. He says, I learned your words. Please, you must stop them. Don't let them take the machine. It is not for this time. I love how nebulous this is. Mm-hmm. It's so good.
Yeah. So foreshadowy.
Yeah, and they're basically like, hey, so it's falling apart. So you said it needs a guardian. So like, what do we need to do to keep it from killing all of us? And he's like, go, and he just faints.
And the contrast in how alert he is and how quickly he just goes unconscious.
I know. It feels a little staged because they're like, wait, you said it's going to destroy itself. What do we do? And he's like, nah, I can't talk right now. What? Don't understand what you said. And they're like, no, how do we stop it? What? No. And he faints.
I'm so tired.
I'm just so tired right now. And so they look.
Dr. Franklin shows up, like comes around into view, and he's like injecting something into a tube. Oh, sorry. Was he in the middle of a sentence? I just gave him some more sedative.
Whoopsie doodle. Was that important? And they go, what's your prognosis? Like they look over at Dr. Franklin. He's like, he's dying. Aren't we all?
Just like the rest of us.
It reminds me of that scene from the episode where that lady broke in and killed the guy in order to talk to him. And we were like, because she goes, it said on his chart that death was certain. And we're like, he puts that on everything. Death is always certain. But he's dying.
On a long enough timeline. The survival rate of everyone goes to 0.
But he's like, yeah, so he's dying, but like dying faster than most people, like imminently dying. And my guess is he's probably been dying for a while. And that's why we've had these seismic disturbances.
Yeah.
The more he suffered, the more the system failed. So that's, yeah, he's dying. He's dead, Jim. He's dying, Jim.
There's a line from Garibaldi where he says, "Damn it, Jeff, I'm a security officer." I thought, I think I might turn that into a Bones shtick. Damn it, Jeff, I'm a security officer, not a
whatever
battle tactician.
You want me to do thinking? But, without Varn, the planet is dying. That's what Dr. Franklin concludes. And he's like, and it's going to take us right along with it. And he sounds real like, ho-hum, I had a good run. And I guess we're all going to die when it does. Ho-hum. And then Sinclair goes to talk to Dral and Delenn. And he's like, so I heard you were there when he woke up and that he spoke to you. What did he say? And they're like, oh, nothing. Nothing more than what he said to you.
I couldn't make it out. It was
and Sinclair's like, so
incoherent.
Why were you there? Like, why were you there in the first place? And Dral goes, his spirit cried out to me in the night.
Which feels like a very Minbari thing to say.
Yeah. And Sinclair's like, okay, so you saw him? Oh, yeah. No, I saw him. His spirit cried out to me. And they figure that the machine tuned his condition into some kind of a distress signal. Mm-hmm. And then it picked people to show. Maybe,
or the astral projection was always just Varn, like he's slightly psychic.
Maybe. It doesn't really clear up. It's fine. And they're like, basically, we've got 8 hours now because we had 10 and then we had 9 and now we have 8. They're still going in the background. Yeah, well, you have 9.5.
Okay,
yeah, well,
so
you have 8 3/4.
I think this is more of a Varn psychic thing because when he calls out to Dral follows the voice to the medbay, where if this was the planet still broadcasting to Dral, it makes it more complicated for
the topic of
Dral to follow it.
What somebody with psychic ability is able to do with the machine is a thing that we cannot talk about right now.
Yeah.
We can't talk about that right now. But we will return to it, okay? Yeah. But basically, Sinclair is like, okay, he called out to you. You went and talked to him. Great. So he knows that Varn is capable of at least projecting himself to other people. So he's like, I get it. That's what he did to you. And then Delenn turns to Dral and she's like, you know what he meant by another, don't you? And Dral's like, yeah. Varn couldn't actually ask me. Like, he may even be forbidden from asking me, but, like, I'm pretty sure.
Isn't this the plot from several video games and books?
But I'm pretty sure I'm the chosen one, and I need to go down there and
there's
a
big machine that a person fits into.
Yeah.
And it needs a person to fit into to run it.
Listen, are just...
a member of the current cast is going to become the new mind of the machine.
No, the third person that joined you just that episode is going to become the mind of the machine, because then you don't have to lose your main cast.
I mean, the cast for this episode is a two-parter.
I think this was interesting. I was reading some other stuff about J. Michael Straczynski in this episode, and he was saying that he didn't want the machine, the topic of the machine, to overshadow the character development that happens in this episode. And I feel like that is definitely what he accomplished.
Yeah.
Because the machine itself is sort of there. It's definitely part of the plot. It's going to appear again, but it's not really what's important. What's important is the interesting choices that Varn made, like choosing Londo. So it gets us a chance to see Londo as someone other than just the guy in the casino, because he shows
The
up.
hedonist. We
Yeah.
get to see Londo, the latent hero.
Londo, the guy who got himself to being an ambassador,
Yeah.
who worked his way up to ambassadorship.
Who had a military campaign.
Yeah. Who served,
Like career.
who has always served the Republic in whatever way it needed.
Yeah.
And right now it's being the hedonistic ambassador on Babylon 5, which I think he does partly because it's his way of coping, but also because it gets people to underestimate him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Londo appears as they're having this conversation. And he's like, hey, what answer is that? What answer is there if you only have ears to hear it? What are we talking about? And they're like, oh, hey, Ambassador Malari. And he goes, oh, Delenn, I'm astonished. Truly. Of everyone here, I never thought you would hold out on me. I thought you could see me. For sure you could see me, but I guess not. And he goes, I believe we should talk. Yes. And that's the end of that scene.
So no, Londo's butting himself into the Delenn drawl drama.
Yeah. In a very,
DDD.
like, okay, well, guys, I'm included in this too. And whatever your personal feelings about me might be, I kind of thought that if you knew I was included, you would include me. You would include me. And instead you're in here having a conversation without me. And then we go to Sinclair, who talks to Captain Pierce, because Captain Pierce is like, where have you been? We have a situation here. And Sinclair's like, oh, did it get messy like I told you it was going to get messy?
How about that?
Oh, look at that. Look at the consequences of your own decisions. Huh. Yeah, it does kind of feel like a really bad situation right now, doesn't it? Kind of makes you wish I had been the one who was allowed to talk to them instead of you butting in and being like, oh, you got 9 hours. How's that working out for you, bro? Captain Pierce is like, okay, so whatever. Anyway, together we have the firepower to take them, which is another bold assumption, by the way.
Yeah, big assumption.
And if we just coordinate, we can outflank them. And Sinclair's like, okay, but I'm only doing this because you backed me into a corner. Because if I failed...
This will go on my report.
Yes. I would love to see Sinclair's report about this.
Another spin-off series, like a web shorts or whatever.
Yeah.
Of the person in Earth Alliance who has to read Sinclair's reports.
I like to think there's a dedicated person. That's
Yes.
their only job, because
Yes, that's the main character of this short series.
somebody has to parse out what Sinclair is actually saying, because if you allow it to become part of the official record and he can reference back to it later, he can get his leg over every time.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is when Delenn and Dral and Londo are finally having their heart-to-heart where they're like, oh, so he appeared to everybody, right? And they're in the rock garden. They love the rock garden.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, I wonder why he appeared to just you and Dral and the commander, because it didn't actually appear to Delenn.
Right.
And I wonder if the machine is capable of, at least in some part, seeing the future. Or it just chooses someone it feels is compatible.
I think it was Varn doing the selection.
Yeah. Well, Dral says, I think it's because we're familiar with the third principle of sentient life. Even Londo. But the question for Londo is, all that the third principle says is that you are willing to sacrifice. It does not say what you are willing to sacrifice. Because it has to be a thing that you are willing to sacrifice for a person, a cause, or a loved one. And the implication is like your life or your something dear to you. But that's not actually stated. It just says the capacity for sacrifice.
Self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sacrifice yourself, but there's a big difference between I will do this risky thing and die
Yeah.
to serve the cause versus I will commit myself to a faithful stewardship of this asset
And also the idea
for the rest of my days.
what if your self-sacrifice is literally sacrificing who you think of as yourself?
Ego death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wiggle room there.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, you can be of great service if you're willing to dare greatly, which I imagine is probably a reference to the Teddy Roosevelt speech, which I'm not going to look it up. Look it up. And he goes, well, I am the Centauri who led the raid on Frollis 12. I mean, obviously, you've asked the right person. I mean, it was a long time ago, but maybe it would be nice to get back to old habits. And Delenn is literally like, oh, sweet baby. Oh, Ambassador Malari, I don't actually think you understand what we're asking you to do. And he's like, yeah, I do. Of course I do. I'm not as dumb as you think I am.
This is an act.
Yeah, this is a good
This
moment
is
of
a character
like,
I play.
oh, I fully know what I'm up to. Don't assume that just because I am capable of mindless joy, that I am always mindless.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, one of us will not return, yes? That much is certain. And he goes, as a young and foolish Centauri, I swore I would die on my feet doing something noble and brave and futile.
As a young and foolish Centauri, I swore that I would die on my feet, doing something noble and brave and futile. Perhaps it was not so wild a dream as I thought, or as foolish. ...
Just gonna leave that there. He goes, perhaps it was not so wild a dream as I thought, or as foolish. It's better than waiting for the inevitable, so like, let's fucking go.
Yeah. Seed planted.
Yeah, just put a red string
Plot
on that.
seed.
Yeah. And then we come up to the CNC and they're like, hey, Ivanova, somebody's trying to leave. And they're like, okay, cool, just go. Like anyone that wants to leave, let them, because everyone that's gone now is someone we don't have to evacuate later. They don't even ask who it is. And then Garibaldi calls up and he's like, somebody just grabbed the patient. And I love that this happens off screen. We do not see the like dun 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 like Dural and Delenn and Londo sneaking
It's better
in.
to imagine it.
They're like, they caused a diversion in Blue 7. And when we got back, the guy was gone. And I want to know what the diversion was.
I bet it was Veer.
You think? I think so. Veer and Lanier.
Veer and Lanier.
Maybe they were
together.
riding the motorcycle. I like to think that's a good one. I was thinking it was probably Londo or Delenn making the distraction, whatever it was.
But no, all three of them get on the shuttle.
Yeah, right.
So they didn't cause the diversion.
It must have been somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just love that this happens completely off screen. We get no other information, just that there was a diversion and then they snatched the guy. They're like, you don't need to know. You don't want to know. It's perfectly fine. They're like, stop all traffic. Don't let them leave. And she's like, fucking too late. I just let like 3 ships go. One of them's already headed to the, hang on, wasn't it going to the jump gate?
Where'd it go?
Where the hell did it go? And then the enemy ship is like, no, I told you don't go to the planet.
And everybody gets mad immediately.
And they're all like, yeah, pew, 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 pew. Like, just right out the gate. They're like, well, I don't need an explanation. I'm just going to fucking kill you all. So they launch ships. We launch ships. Everything gets really hairy really, really quickly. But honestly, the best part about this is the transport is heading to the planet. And so we see a CG of it like getting shot at and it starts spinning. And they're like,
and then Ivanova says, whoever's flying that thing is a madman.
and then we come back to Londo going, like having the best time. He's having the best day.
Yeah.
My God. Whoever's piloting that shuttle's a madman.
Just like Frollis 12.
He's like, this is so much better than losing more money in the casino again. And is he fucking with Delenn? Yes, he is absolutely fucking with Delenn.
If I were an interior thruster, landing thruster,
Where would I
be?
be? Landing thrusters. It's so good. Because they end up going in the atmosphere and they don't get shot at because I imagine Varn is like, it's cool. I'll make sure we
He's
don't
like,
get
just
shot
send
at.
the
It's
signal.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another shuttle launches and they're all like, God damn it, no more shuttles. And it's actually Garibaldi. And Garibaldi's like, I'm just trying to help. And they're like, Garibaldi, not like
We're
this.
pretty sure that's where Varn is. And somebody kidnapped Varn.
Yeah.
We don't know who. So I'm going to go get Varn back because he's kind of a big deal
He's
right
kind
now.
of a big deal. And he's like, you don't need me. I can't help you. I can't fly. He can fly a fighter, but it doesn't matter. He's like, I can't help you do the thing you're doing, but I can do this. Somebody's got to go get him. And they're like, it's too dangerous. Come back. And he's like, if they can make it, so can I, which does not follow logically, literally at all. No, because Varn didn't turn off the security defense. He just okayed the one ship to go through.
Right.
So we don't even know how he actually gets through because he's like, buy me some cover. And so Delta 2 through 6 watch, quote, Mr. Garibaldi's back. But
Yeah.
if none of the Hyperion ships could get through, it's fine. It's fine. And Lando's just like, who said the good old days are gone? And this is when he's like, now if I were landing thrusters, where would I be? This whole part's so good. I love Lando. Anyway, then there's more pew pew, 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 pew. We find out we're using the defense grid and we didn't even get the defense grid animation.
Aw.
Which is lame, which means we've lost yet another opportunity for it to open and it just be a guy standing there with a gun. It's all I want in life. God. Then finally Garibaldi catches up. It doesn't even take long, right? So earlier, it took 2 hours for them to get from the landing bay to where Varn is plugged into the machine because Garibaldi's like 2 hours with no contact. This sucks. And that's when they finally call them back. 2 hours.
Well, Varn probably knows how to run the internal transport systems.
Oh, okay. Then how did Garibaldi get there so quickly?
He followed them.
How did Garibaldi get through the booby trap?
He followed them.
Did he sneak onto the same? Maybe he has a superpower. And his superpower is specifically getting on any elevator that he wants to.
Yeah.
All he has to do is think about the elevator or the people on the elevator, and he will appear on the elevator. It's a very specific superpower.
Yep.
It's fine. It's a giant fucking plot hole, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is they all end up at the same time in the same place. I mean, he was right behind them. I did like the trick of,
and he was going in gun drawn
yeah,
because as far as he knew, these were some kidnappers.
yeah, because he's literally like, "What? I thought we were gonna have hijackers or tech stealers or something." And they're like, "Well, you may have noticed that things are not going real well down here, and we're pretty sure we can help." And Varn has been like hot wiring the machine. He's got like his, I want it to be like you see sparks like and then you see like a and he's like, I finished. I made a pocket of air for you guys. And suddenly Varn can breathe our atmosphere because he's in the pocket of air
It's
with
a powerful
everybody else.
machine.
Okay. It's fine. He goes, the machine controlling this planet needs a mind to run it or it will destroy itself and Babylon 5.
Mm-hmm.
And Garibaldi's like, okay, so who's going to go in it? If it's not going to be you, who? And then Drawl's like, no, it's going to be me. I'm going to take his place. And Garibaldi's like, no, don't. He doesn't know who Drawl is.
Right?
He literally has no reason to be like, don't do that. He's like, no, it's fine. It's okay. We're going to figure this out. You don't have to give your life for this. And they're like, no, it's literally fine. Like, I've already made this choice. Please believe me, all my life I have searched for a way to serve others. He's like, I'm willing.
Already leaving.
I'm already leaving. I was already heading out to the stars. So this is just me going to the stars. It's like, if necessary, I could die for another person. Like, that was my greatest destiny.
Mm-hmm.
He's not dying. He's going to live for a lot longer than he would have otherwise.
Yeah.
And he says the third principle again. We just really hit it home, which is fine. Yeah. And it occurred to me that the whole purpose of the third principle really on the surface is just the idea of being good for the sake of being good, selflessly good.
Yeah.
And not for recognition. which is just how Superman operates.
Right.
Which makes a lot of sense after you read the J. Michael Straczynski biography. He said, all I wanted to do was make the world a better place. And I had done all I could on my world, and now I found another way to save lives. So I would really appreciate it if you just got the fuck out of my way and let me fulfill my destiny. And Garibaldi's like, no, don't. Okay, actually, you know what? That's fine. Yeah. He objects all of once. And this is when we cut back to the epic space battle that is happening. They've closed the blast doors. Shit's happening. Babylon 5 gets hit. They're like, we can't take another hit like that, or we'll have to separate the saucer section or whatever. And then Drawl appears as a hologram to everybody. And he's like, I am talking to all of you, so everybody listen up. This machine does not belong to any of you. It only belongs to itself and to the future.
The future.
The future. And then he's like, Commander Sinclair, the secrets buried here must remain secret, or any other race would have an advantage over the others. Which is not what you say to a human if you don't want them to try to take over your planet.
Right.
Yeah. It's fine. He goes, we've entrusted the safekeeping of this place to the Babylon 5 Advisory Council. Which is a bold move.
Bold move.
How do you think Jakar is going to feel when he finds out that Londo got the chance to go down to the planet and he didn't, because Varn didn't choose Jakar?
That we know of.
That we know of. You're right. He goes, we rely upon your guidance and the council's enlightened self-interest. And should enlightened self-interest prove insufficient to the cause, we will blow you the fuck up if you come down to our planet. The defense systems on this world are now fully operational, is what he says. And I just love his... We rewound and listened to some of his lines because he does such a good job delivering like these Shakespearean deliveries with the like prrrs and his R's, and oh, it's so good. And he goes, when the time is right, we will be here waiting for you. ... But not until then, so goodbye. And they're like, oh, okay, great. That happened. So can I talk to Pierce? And so they're going to open the link, but then they're like, wait a minute, the enemy ship is still headed towards the planet. Didn't they get the message? And Ivanov is like, oh, I think they got it, but they didn't believe it. And then, this is just to prove the situation is serious.
Beam. Yeah.
Because this ship that no one could damage, which is really cool, by the way, because it all breaks up into little pieces and it becomes its own fighters, which is, what if you're in the wrong section? You have to run around the loop. Wait, I'm going. And they all get blown up. Like, blown up.
Gone.
And then we cut back to the planet where Drawl is now in the machine. And Garibaldi's like, yeah, great, so sad. Come on, let's go, guys. Let's go. We got to go get our ship. Come on.
Which, are they really in a hurry?
And even Londo's like, yeah, come on, we got to go. I mean, not really. They wouldn't be in a hurry. Delen's like, can I have a fucking moment, please? And then she looks at Varn and she's like, tell me it's a wonder. Like, tell me this is worth it so that I can sleep at night and I don't imagine him down here trapped in the machine. He's even got this tube like going into his chest. And Varn's like, oh yeah, it's great. He's like, the machine will extend his life so he will see all the tomorrows, hear all the songs, and touch the edge of the universe with his thoughts. And Delen's like, great, well, I'm going to think about him often and I hope he can hear it. And then she says, the third principle of sentient life is the capacity for self-sacrifice, for a cause or a loved one or for a friend. We get it.
Yeah.
It's a good theme. We get it. Then she says, goodbye, friend. I shall see you again someday as Brother Theo when you come back as not Mimbari.
Yeah. He's got to take a couple of years to complete all the training courses.
Yeah. That's what he's doing right now. The onboarding.
Yeah. Like when you start a new job and you have to watch all the training videos.
Yeah, we don't expect you to actually be effective for at least a year. It's going to be fine. So then we go back to Pierce and Sinclair, and Pierce is basically like, yeah, I guess I got to go get repairs or whatever. So much for having some R&R. And you should know I received a communique from Earthdome, and they confirmed that you have jurisdiction over Babylon 5 in this sector of space. So my regrets if I exceeded my authority or whatever. And Sinclair's like...
I was just following orders.
Sinclair's like, now say it again, on your knees. Apology accepted. Not, Dick. He goes, have a safe trip. And the guy's like, will do. Out. Hyperion out. And then we cut back to Garibaldi has taken a shower and he's drying off in his quarters. And they have finally gotten a secure line to the Mars colony. And this is when Ivanov is like, but before you transfer it, there's something you should know, which means he's told everyone his backstory.
Yeah.
And they're all waiting for the crash because he finally gets to talk to Lise. And when he finds out, he's basically like, I could come there or you could come here, but we should definitely get back together because I still really love you. And she's like, dude, I'm married. And I'm having a baby in September with a guy named Franz.
Even the kids are like, what kind of name is Franz?
The worst part is during this whole monologue that he gives, he goes, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life and you're one of them.
I never should have left you. Like, maybe don't make the pause that big.
He literally goes, please let me finish. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life and you're one of them.
which feels like the intro to a breaking up.
Yeah. Well, then he says, I never should have left you. I realize that now. But there's a long pause after, right. And you're one of them.
Leaving you is one of them. Okay, Garibaldi, phrasing.
It's like no, I don't like it. I love it. No, you were a mistake to ever leave. Like, you can't. But she's basically like, yeah, wow, okay. So anyway, that's why I left you. That's why I never called you either. Mm-hmm. And I'm remarried now. And he's like, that's great. Really glad for you. Really. And she's like, oh, thank you. And then we cut to kind of the observation area. Like, we've been in this room before. This is where Jakar did his.
Yeah, we've only been here once, though.
Well, Jakar did his thing, and I think this is where we tried to have the body viewing. Or the body that disappeared.
Okay.
Remember how Delenn managed to snatch an entire body? Of course she was capable of getting Varn. She could have done it herself. She didn't even need Lanier. She's like, oh, I've done this before. It's fine. I know how to steal a body. I mean, allegedly. Allegedly, I know how to steal a body. Dr. Franklin's like, yes. Soon the apprentice will become the master.
Franklin helped with that one.
He's like, oh, what are we going to do with it? Just take pictures. See you later. Bye.
So Delenn owes Londo a big favor.
Yeah. And probably
I bet she owes Dr. Franklin a big favor,
You don't want to owe Dr. Franklin a favor. But he's like, anyway, Garibaldi is up in the observation dome, and Delenn shows up there, and she's like, oh, do you come up here to lose yourself in the stars, too? And he's like, well, it's quiet, and I like quiet. And then he's like, can I ask you a question? Well, why the end run around us? What he's asking is, why didn't you just ask us? Like, why didn't you just tell us you needed to take Varn down to the planet? And we would have just let you. Like, you didn't need the cloak and dagger was not necessary.
Like we were pretty confident. We were pretty sure that that's what needed to happen too. We
could have worked together on
things.
that. Yeah. And she's like, because if I had, I know in my heart that Sinclair would be the one down there right now. Correct.
And fair.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep.
She said he's looking for a purpose, but his destiny lies elsewhere. ... And he's like, okay, whatever. He's just like, Minbari shit, whatever. So how did you get Londo to go along with it? And she's like, oh, in exchange of promises. But he wanted to go. You didn't have to exchange anything. He was like,
oh, but he doesn't let a bargaining opportunity get in the way.
Oh my God. He's the Ferengi.
Yes.
Yeah. They even have weird headpieces. It's fine. You know why they had the fabric around the back of their heads?
Oh, yeah, because the mask wasn't done.
Yeah, it was incomplete in the back, so they were just like, staple some shit on it. It doesn't matter. And so then it became like a thing. She's like, I now owe him a great favor, and I'm sure he'll come to collect it sooner or later, but I kind of think he enjoyed doing it. He really did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She goes, he discovered something inside him that he thought was buried long ago. And he goes, yeah, one thing I discovered is that some things are better left buried. good night, Ambassador. And then he's like, Franz, what the hell kind of name is Franz? And I really just don't think that the lady you ghosted moving on is really apples to apples to Delen's friend becoming a part of a planet-sized machine.
Yeah.
I feel like these two things. He's like, "Oh, tell me about it. Oh, I fucking get it." No, you left you yelled at a woman, left her, did not call or anything for 2 years, and then when you called back, you were like, "Thank you for waiting for me. I'm ready to be together now." And she's like, "Dude, I moved on. I got married. I have a kid. I have a kid on the way." And he's like, "That bitch." He says he's happy for her, and I think on some level he is, but also like, "Oh, dang it. I liked having that one in my back pocket. Like I could call Lise up anytime and we'd get back together if I wanted to or whatever." This was an interesting two-parter. It was interesting to have a two-parter. Well, now that we know why they had the two-parter, it makes more sense because to have one in the middle of a season was usually like, really?
Right. Usually it's the season start or the season end.
Yeah, a big dramatic storyline to like that they could advertise for and get people to really like get engaged in watching. And we planted so many story seeds in the last 2 episodes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty. Now I know he doesn't come back as Drawl. Oh, we can't really talk about it. We're gonna have to do 2 versions of We Are All Kosh. The hey everybody, you watched the whole show. Now we get to just say all the shit. And the
like we've been doing on Murderbot.
Like we've been doing on Murderbot, the spoiler section at the end.
Yeah, the last 15, 30 minutes.
Yeah, because one thing that they did mention is that over time he downplays the like role of Drawl in the machine because that gets very Deus Ex Machina. Like Delenn could just make a phone call and be like, "Hey, can you save us from this?" And JMS, always wanted the show to be about the characters. And so the bigger the technology is, the more advanced the technology is, the easier everything becomes, the less the characters have to stretch to accomplish things.
Yeah.
And I get it. So if you're hoping that this machine is going to become a big part of the show, you are incorrect.
Right. It is used.
It really
for the
does.
plot.
But it also just sort of disappears because, I mean, that's what they're like, this isn't for you. This is for the future. So fuck off. And then they blew up the ship of Karens, which I feel like some days we all hope would happen. So this was a pretty good episode, aside from the really painful part at the bar where I was just like, wow, people have not changed. That's really, it's impressive. I can't. Just going to leave it there. All right. Do you have anything else you want to add about this episode? Are you excited? We're in the home stretch. We only have a couple more episodes left of season 1.
Yeah, I think 3. 3
yeah,
episodes
and then
left.
Chrysalis.
Yep.
We've got Gropos coming up, which is one of the, like, it's a Garibaldi backstory episode, which means we're going to have a lot of really fucking fun with it. So excited. So I guess we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
We live for the one.
We die for the one.
Until next time, friends. Bye.
Bye.
Now, landing thrusters. Landing thrusters. If I were a landing thruster, which one of these would I be?